Before we start this podcast, I just want to make one humble request. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel and press the notifications bell icon. This really helps us bring more guests to the show and have the platform to spread wisdom. Thank you and enjoy the podcast.
I would love if you could describe that moment, you know, when you first realized that you were having an NDE and what that experience was, you know, like for you.
Yeah. So the moment that you leave your body, which every soul will eventually access this information. The moment you leave your body, you remember your true state, your home again. And so that's what that was like for me. It was remembrance of who I am, who we all are, and where we come from. And once that is fully remembered, only when that's fully remembered is when you could say your soul is fully present here, because then you see past all of the illusions, pretty much. So, I mean, in the shortest way possible to explain that, that's pretty much what took place there, you know. And even with yourself, with near-death experience, you know, you died. So what is it at that point that you see and you access? You remember your heaven, you remember your home, your divinity.
Yes.
And it's probably the reason why you are doing what you're doing now, you see, which then becomes a mission to wake people up to the other side, which is considered on the other side the great work. So, yeah, it's perfect.
No, the way you just put it, I couldn't have said it better myself. Because even when I share my experience, that's like what I always say, that the reason I am doing what I'm doing now is because of my NDE. And it's weird because it's in the beginning, I didn't even realize that that's why I was doing what I was doing, because it was such like a drastic kind of realization. And it's not like it was like everything was smooth after that for me personally. And I think that's something everybody's going to have. It's going to be different for everybody. But what I still remember I was doing, because I'm an actor and musician, and I was working on a script. We're filming a tape with my friend. And, you know, we were young. We don't really worry about our health. Suddenly I was reading my script and I was having trouble literally breathing and sucking up air in my body. I was like, like wheezing. And then suddenly my lungs kind of just pressed in and I couldn't breathe. So I had, my first instinct was, oh, this is BS. Let me just drink some water, you know, I'm be fine. Still nothing. I got stressed out. I ran down the stairs. All I knew is I opened the front door to my house and just tried to get fresh air. But by that time, my friend was on a video call who was helping with the tape. And he was like filming another friend on video calls, trying to show what was going on with me to see what we should do. I just said, call the ambulance. And right after that, I passed out. Now, you know, what happened when I passed out, yes, I was in pain in the beginning and I went out of consciousness and I did see the white light. And that was a experience that I can't even fully explain. But more than that experience of a lift off of the burden, it was like, I actually felt like, I don't know why I felt a sense of ecstasy. But when I woke up in the hospital 15, 20 minutes, I guess later, I think that...
Because you were truly free, man. Yeah, go.
Yeah, exactly. I was truly free. And that realization made me realize, this is just a skin suit. This is not who I am. And especially as an actor, I did this film where I had to play like a cocaine kind of dealer, like a drug lord Al Pacino type of character, made my whole hair blonde. The director made me do everything. And I realized that during that 1 month, I completely changed as a person almost, because I was looking at myself from the outside. This was before my NDE. That because I was judging that I looked like this and my personality, that I made that conditioning in over a month. And naturally, I kind of changed. And it took time for me to get rid of that. But the experience kind of changed me. But I wanted to ask you, because we both had that out-of-body experience. Does everybody have the potential to have an out-of-body experience?
Everybody does, yeah. And I want to go back to what you said before, and I'll answer that as well. But you sense the freedom or burden lifted off you, because once you leave here and you have the out of body state, you experience true freedom again. Yeah, You experience the ultimate expression of freedom with no limitation. That's what happens. And you also experience that there's no judgment towards you. You could just fully be yourself. And there's no greater freedom than that. Because right now people live in this place, this realm, where they feel they need to be something other than their true self. And this creates enslavement to you, the individual, your soul, and your self-expression. You see? So the moment you leave, you realize you are not beholden to anybody besides yourself. And at that point, you are free to do as you wish, as every soul is. And every soul can do this. That's the thing. So some people have a near-death experience, and they need the near-death experience to remind them who they are here, to set them on a path of doing this mission, of that which you have changed your life to do. You see? Same with me. Because what you realize once you leave and you access that place, there is only one truth. And that one truth is your home. And it becomes the greatest mission to wake people up back to their home. Because it's only then, when you're there, you will experience the true divinity of freedom and love again, of that which everybody seeks. Everybody. And everybody can have a controlled out-of-body state, because you're shutting down the body to a state, and then you leave. It's no different from near death. And to not feel that, or to then put yourself in a place where you don't feel this is true or can be done for you, it's because you yet do not understand the true potential that lies within you. Because we all have it. There's nothing that has happened to you, nothing that has happened to me, that no one else, or it's limited to one person or individual. Everybody's going to experience this one way or the other. It's just very unfortunate when you wait to awaken yourself to this truth just on the end of your experience here. Because when you wait to that point before you question things like this, then the regrettable is the unforgettable. And you will never see. And it's important, because even yourself, with your near-death experience, did you change your thought process, who you were, who you actually are? Your soul essence of who you are didn't change at all. You remain the same. You are the same person, but you are free. You see? All of the walls that kept you in a certain place just instantly gone.
Yeah.
And so you were the same person there. Yeah.
I'm so happy you brought that up, because whenever I bring this topic on different podcasts, we always talk about this and that aspect of that you already have that divinity within yourself, but that experience allowed you to become free. I think that's something that when the audience takes away from that, that's a really important aspect of it. So I'm really happy you brought that up. I wanted to talk to you just because, like, even in my other podcasts that we do, this gets brought up in the comments, and I think it's important that it's clarified. So for all the people out there, and I'm talking about scientists, doctors, that say that this out-of-body experience that you are experiencing is an hallucination, what would you say to them?
Okay. Scientists, doctors, these people automatically believe that there's an end to you. And when they believe that there's an end to you, they believe that the universe dictates consciousness. So when you try to give information from a person that has not seen the truth for themselves, this is a dead-end road. It's like trying to show somebody, how do you tell a blind person what the color blue looks like? Seriously, and really think about that. I know I say that before, but how do you tell a blind person what the color blue looks like?
I mean, I guess you can't really fully explain it through words. Yeah.
Scientists and doctors are trying to figure out the nature of reality, the nature of who they are through the body, to the limitations of this earthly realm. They are trying to figure out the spark, the beginning. And they'll never find it here. You'll never find the beginning of you here, because it does not reside here. It resides on the other side. And so the only way to really find that truth is to see it for yourself. And you will find yourself, if you do not do that, countless hours wasting your time searching for truth that doesn't exist here in the numbers, in the constructs of man-made belief systems. Numbers are man-made based off the man's belief system. They're all constructs. So for those that call it a hallucination, I ask you this one question. How come all of the people that have done this say the same thing? How come all of the people that have near-death experiences like yourself realize this truth? How is that so? Because you're returning back to your original state. You see, people, scientists, doctors, people that are educated, and they need to understand that this is not the end. There is no end to you. Yeah.
No.
Doesn't exist.
Definitely. Yeah.
You live on forever, and there is an other side, and you will only find the answers, the true answers there. You could find them here through questioning. You could find the answers here through questioning. Where did I come from before I was born? Who am I really? And you because the answers are all within each individual soul, and you could spark that again. But when you try to understand us through the physiology of the physical body, then the physical body can be measured. You can measure everything within the physical body, but the soul can never be measured because you never will touch it. You see? So that's what I would say about that for them.
Also, and because we are talking about all these aspects that people are actually, there's lots of controversies regarding. I wanted to talk to you about experiencing the out-of-body state through drugs, right? Through external substances, the whole aspect of whether that's DMT, psilocybin. What is your view on that? Do you think it is possible to have the same exact experience through a self-induced kind of substance, or do you think it's like a calling for people that when that happens naturally and nothing can replace that?
No. So you never want to take anything when you do this. Yeah. So when you take external sources or external things, you shut down the natural ability that you have. It becomes dormant. So when you take something and you are trying to access information, it's no different from being drunk behind a wheel. Yeah. So physically, you could drive your car and you could see the road. You could drive your car drunk or on drugs. You'll still see the road, but it'll be distorted. So when you're taking something consciously, it distorts your vision of that which you see as well. When you do it with 100% control, 100% willingness in consciousness, what you see is no longer distortions. You see, it's only when you're taking things that compounds physically here of seeing things distorted in a distorted way. So I don't condone, or nor do I tell anybody to do this with any type of drugs, because nothing that I've experienced has been done in that way. And none of the people that have followed the principles and things that I teach have done that. I'm very against that because it shuts down your natural abilities. And that's as simple as that.
I'm very happy you clarified that in such a concise way, because you see all these podcasters talking about DMT and their own experiences. I don't want to take names or anything, but I feel like that kind of glorifies it, and because they have that status, and you have to be very careful when you talk about what experiences you've done and the results from it, because if you're not an expert in the field, if you don't know what you've actually experienced like you have, and you're talking about an experience with drugs and other people are watching it, it really could tread them in the wrong direction. So thank you for explaining that. So everybody watching clearly that are talking in the comment section about getting out of body experiences through drugs or external substances, just like Darius said, it's not what it's supposed to be. And like that beautiful metaphor that he used about that if you're going to take an external substance, you're not going to be in your complete senses. You're not going to be seeing it clearly, right? That's how you were explaining it, or?
Yeah, no. You are not. You're going to see a distorted view of things.
Distorted.
Yeah. Well, when you are trying to do something consciously, understand right now, you could tune into more information consciously without taking anything. And you will call this intuitive downloads. Now, you see, now when you take something consciously, with the ability that you have within you, it will distort your view. You will see distortions. Yeah. So don't take anything when doing this. These things in the long term will suppress your natural abilities, and you become dependent. What is also the number one way the second way to control the soul? Fear and dependency of things outside of yourself. You hold all the information and the ability within you if you just remember that. And when you start doing things outside of yourself to try to get information or try to achieve something, you will forever be dependent on that thing. And does that not make you a slave to that thing?
Oh man, you have said it. Dependency, and it makes you a slave. Oh my God, exactly. It's not even just with drugs, it's what's happening in the rest of the world, whether that's the media we're listening to, the news, all these things, social media. And this is going to be this exact conversation needs to be a segment on its own, that aspect of becoming dependent, because that's what you don't realize. No matter what, even if you somehow feel some sort of sense of out of body, it's a temporary experience. You're gonna become dependent on it. You have to understand that, So I'm so happy you brought that up. Just moving on from that, you talked about your NDE experience, how you had a sense of euphoria. Could you elaborate a little bit on that experience, that environment?
Yeah, well, I did break it down a little bit in the beginning, but like I said, the euphoria and bliss that I felt, this was going back at 16, but I don't necessarily feel that much anymore when I do it, because it's just a natural thing that I do. It's just a state of being. So the same person that I'm here right now speaking to you is the same way that I would speak to you on the other side. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily change, but in the beginning, when I 16, that experience was the first time that I felt that bliss, and the bliss came from me realizing my true home again. That freedom that we all have, the freedom that I was not beholden to anybody or anything besides that which I desire to do. And that was like, you're talking about. It was a feeling that kept on expanding, and it never stopped, because I released myself from all fear, from all prisons. Yeah. And there's nothing that could compare to that feeling. But yeah, the first time.
We were talking about death before. I want to just dive into that a little bit, and I'm going to ask there's two definitely big questions that I'm going to bring up. I'll start with one that I always bring up when I'm talking about this, because it's it's because of social media, it's everywhere. Cryonics, cryogenics, the whole aspect, because we are talking about death and how the body might die, but that's not who we are, so we live forever. But at the same time, the social media videos of actual labs, all these things where people are freezing themselves, they're saying that, if we have a disease thousands of years in the future, if we defrost ourselves and we can cure ourselves there. I would love for you to clarify, in different perspectives. One, if it even is possible and somehow you could freeze the body. Let's say, we could put ourselves in a tank and we could technically preserve the outer layer, the skin, and you defrost 1,000 years later. Personally, do you believe the person who wakes up, we would even be in there, the soul? If you can talk about,
Okay. So you're talking about freezing of the body to maintain its essence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, I got you. So can that be done? Is yes, it's already being done. And that's the thing. That's you could say the cloning is already being done too. They could clone a dog. Google search it. They've cloned animals before. Yeah. So if you go on Google, go
I
on
didn't know
Google. Yeah. So if you type in cloning of a dog, you'll see it. Yeah. Do you see it?
There are actual companies that do this? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dog clone creates a general again using your skin sample. Oh, I didn't know this. Wow. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's already out there, like publicly. that, you know, cloning of an animal, or what was it? You'll find it. I believe I'm not going to give you 100% accuracy of information here, but I think it was some woman that did it to her dog or something, paid for it. Yeah, yeah. So, and some of the things that I've seen as well, and inside the past as well, you look at the pyramids too. Yeah, they already had this technology, and they still use it to a degree now. Now, would your consciousness still be in that body? No, I wouldn't say so, because you're still leaving. Yeah. So if the body's shut down and you shut down the body, stop the heart, you stop the electromagnetic field of the physical body, and then you leave it. Yeah. But returning back to that, you would be, in theory, yeah, you would be able to return back to that state if you chose to. But I don't think a lot of people would. Even you go into, you would know this because you're located in India, are you?
We have a studio in India right now. I'm in New Jersey. That's our second studio. But yeah, we have. My family is from India. I'm Indian. Yeah.
Okay. So even in your culture, and even in Buddhist temples and stuff, you look into history, they were able to put their body into stasis naturally. Yeah. And some of those bodies, you could say, still have the flesh and youthfulness there, but they haven't returned back to it because they're gone. You see? So to answer that, anyways, yeah.
You know, if you could talk about like what misunderstanding you feel the general population have about afterlife, because, you know, we are talking about death. What do you feel is like the most misunderstood aspect of what the afterlife truly is?
That you are forced to come back here, that your soul could be entrapped and imprisoned. Those things. I don't really listen to a lot of things, to be honest with you. So I'm just going off basic things that have been asked to me in the past. So one of the most biggest misconceptions is that you can be trapped and imprisoned. When you get into that state of mind, you have already forgotten at the most basic level of who you are. Your soul can never be entrapped and imprisoned unless you believe it to be so. And I've stated this many times before, because the authority of your soul is dictating things around you, even on the other side. So that which you will, you could create. You create creations, you create your own heavens based off your soul's will. And the very belief that you could be entrapped, you manifest these things to be so. So that would be one. And because a lot of death has a lot of fear attached to it, you see? And there's a lot of fear in the death process, or NDEs, out-of-body experiences as well. The fear is there because people think that something could happen to them still, because they're still, even though they leave the body, still afraid of some form of death, you know, or non-existence. And you always remain, you always live forever. You are an eternal being. This never goes away. And yeah, I would say that's the misconception, the big misconception there with that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. No, beautifully put. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I feel like that's what definitely people misunderstand. But at the same time, if you had to say like let's just go a little bit, like open up the conversation a little bit, because AI has become such a huge topic, but because of AI, I feel like the debate of consciousness in general, what consciousness truly is being talked about. So I would like to dive into that a little bit, but before we do that, just one word, you talked about manifestation, right? You said a big word. Can you just talk a little bit about that and the power of manifestation before we talk about consciousness and AI?
Okay, so your body, your soul, manifestation is just the creation based off the will of your soul, the spoken word. Physically, manifestation happens here when you imagine something first, and then you take the steps to create it here. and you're manifesting your will. So you could replace manifestation with will. Yeah. The will of the soul. Physically, we do that here. When you're out of your body, you do that, but it's very quick. Yeah. So manifestation is constantly, whatever you are constantly putting in the forefront of your consciousness will start to create your reality in a sense. And you could do this also physically too. You know, there's people that do this physically. You could take, for instance, you know that what you feel, how you feel, what you speak influences the cells of your physical body. Yes? Okay. And I brought up in many discussions in the past, they've done this with water, that water could be programmed and that your body is a form of water. So even your will here, physically, will start to change the way that the cells express themselves. And when you step into a place of love, your heart, truly love, then this is what is where the true power is. You see? And as soon as you are on the other side, what is heaven? What are the heavens of everybody? What is, or whatever you would like to call it, the paradise, the bliss? What is that? That's done from your soul's will, your soul's place of joy and fulfillment. So yeah. And
Yeah, you know, you just keep on bringing such strong words that I have to pick out because I'm so happy you brought up love. I'm so happy you brought up love because that's such a simple, that's like a thing that we overtake, and it's become a word that's been used to the point where we don't, now it's like completely distorted, you know? At this point, you know, it's just like the word love has lost its meaning. So I'm so happy you brought that up, that true essence of love. And when I think about love personally, it's, for me, after my experience, I realized that there's like, we're all just universal consciousness. And if I'm talking to you right now, yes, I'm calling you Darius, of course, but at the same time, when I see you eye to eye right now, my feeling of love is that I see you in myself and I see the divinity in you right now. And I think that's when you start feeling that towards everybody, and that hatred just slowly goes away. And I know the ego is hard because I've struggled with that myself personally, but when you slowly let go of that ego,
let me add this in.
please.
And this is no offense or anything at you, so please don't take it that way at all. But ego, you could say this is one of the spiritual warfares. I would say when you died, yeah. How do I pronounce your name?
Arian.
Arian. Okay, Arian. When you died, were you not the same?
I was this. I mean, when I died at that moment, I was the same. Yes, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Your personality, who you were, was the same. So let me ask you this. Why would you try to rid yourself of your ego when even when you leave here, you remain the same? Do you see?
Yeah. So you're saying ego is something that it's not that you have to remove the ego to become truly free. That's not that's not what you have to do. Yeah.
Replace the word ego with soul experiences.
Okay.
Yeah. So your soul experiences, everything that you've experienced from the beginning of your first thought to where you are right now is all. Everything of who you are right now is the perfected version of you here right now, and forgetfulness of the rest of you and the experiences that you've had. And you would call this ego. You expressing yourself in a certain way, it's ego. And I know that this could be misinterpreted in many different ways, but you, when you died, you remained the same. Every person that leaves here remains the same. The only thing that gets added to you is memories of why you do things, who you are, why you express the way you express yourself. So if you were to get rid of ego with understanding that is your soul's experiences, you would in essence be wiping your memory and all your soul's experiences, putting yourself back to a blank slate. you could say, turning yourself into a baby soul, and making you very easy to be controlled over another soul's will, not yours. Yeah. You do not, you do not, who you are does not change. And I say that with all respect towards you as well.
Do you feel like when we're like that innocence and purity that a baby has, because this is what we were talking with the other guests, do you feel that is the purity that you are looking for eventually when you become free? It's that original state of when you were that full innocent, when you did not care? Or could you a little bit talk or elaborate on that?
Okay. So what is a baby? And I'm referring this back to you because you've had a near death. So what is a baby? A baby is someone that has just come from the other side, totally free and able to be who they were, be who they are, express themselves with no judgment. Because you can't have unconditional love with a judgment. And so now they're fresh here and they're fully able to be themselves. Now, every baby is different because the soul signature is different, and they're fully able to just be themselves as a baby, as a child. As you get older, you're taught how to act, taught how to do things, and suppress yourself. So then when you die, you say you return back to being a baby, which is then returning back to you being your original self. Not necessarily that you are a baby, but you are in the same energy signature of being yourself without judgment, free to be, without any burden. You see? So that's where those tie in. One's fresh from the other side, one's leaving.
Yeah, no, that makes
all this. Yeah.
Wow. No,
Okay.
where I love that you brought up that even by saying the word baby in that form, you're kind of restricting who we truly are. Like, you're kind of saying that it's not that, right? Is that what you're trying to say? That we're restricting by even talking about that baby form and that innocence, that purity, that we're beyond that because we've been before that? Like
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not even, so when children come in here, they're not children. Yeah. They're not babies in that aspect. They come in here just the same way that you've come in here, from the other side, with experiences that you've had and full awareness and your ultimate authority on the other side to do as you will, and then come into here. So this place that we are gives you the illusion of birthing another soul, creating another soul, having that babyish sense, but it's not. There's still another soul, and the children aren't even yours. So even when you are a father or a mother, you view them as your children. They are not yours. And to view it as that is to have restrictions and control over another soul. And if you feel you could control another soul, then you can't have ultimate expression of freedom with a limitation. So therefore you are enslaving that soul. You see?
I would love for you to talk about how meditation helped you come to this point, you know?
Well, what is meditation? Meditation is basically a form and a tool to put your brainwave in a certain state to access information. Yeah. So I don't necessarily meditate consciously. You could say when I leave my body, that's a very deep meditation. But all through my life, all here right now, exactly what you see is exactly how I am. So when you could 24/7 be in the state of just peace, then you are in the ultimate form of meditation, because that's when things start to come into you. You start to feel things, intuitive downloads, and insights. Yeah. So, for someone that is so bombarded with life and so bombarded with the things that are going on in life in terms of fear, stress, it would be of your best interest to try to do some form of meditation, and not a meditation in a way where it is just, I'm going to just sit there and do nothing, but with intention. Have intention behind that, what you do. So, I mean, I don't have a lot of information to give you specifically on that, just because I'm always in that state anyways. I mean, that's not coming from a place of just telling you this or telling you that. It's just, that state of being is just a natural state of being. Yeah.
I wanted to go talk about artificial intelligence a little bit.
Okay.
So
Okay.
according to you, do you see technology, especially artificial intelligence, playing a role in facilitating or hindering spiritual experiences like OBEs?
So any, all right. So there's a lot of technology that's hidden from people, and we are only getting the tip of certain technology now. Now, this technology, yes, when you become dependent on things outside of yourself, it will suppress your natural abilities. So, for instance, did you ever hear of Project Looking Glass before?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So, you could edit this out, or you could keep it in, depending if you feel like people that you're are listening to this. Yeah. So Project Looking Glass is you could say, a organization, part of affiliated with the government system, that created technology to look into future events. Okay. And they do this through, yeah, if you look it up online, you'll see some information, whistleblowers and things like that.
Okay.
And yeah, so AI is another form, not necessarily a future, but it's another form of technology that is used, and it's much more advanced than what we are being given now. And now I say these things for this reason. If a piece of technology could look into potential futures, but you could come out of your body and see potential futures as well, why would you make yourself dependent on a piece of technology when you are the ultimate form of technology? Yeah. Why would you make yourself dependent on AI trying to give you information when all of the information that you seek already resides within you of the truth of who we actually are? AI is tuning into information that we have created it to tune into in terms of the internet. But right now we have a field around us, an energetic field that's all around us here right now. And we can naturally tune into this. And when you become too dependent on things outside of yourself, you suppress your natural gifts and your abilities. So it would be in your best interest to constantly focus on yourself and your abilities, always. Yeah. You could say as well, too, and I'm going to use a different word here. Maybe some people will understand it. You could say the more that you become dependent on technology, it's because you have a weak spirit within you. Yeah. Which makes you dependent on these things.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you on that. I also wanted to talk to you because, you know, a lot of the viewers that will be watching this video, especially because the way we are talking, kind of connects with that, is people that are on their journey, but they're still seeking purpose in life. And I mean, this happens. It happened personally with me, and I know a lot of people that are in the our subscribers that have gone through this, where they are either going through dispassion because of this realization, and maybe they're in some sort of depression state, or you can call it deep rest state, whatever you want, how you want to pronounce it. But yeah, what would you say to them in order for them to maybe move? Not, I wouldn't say move on, because I feel like that is important. For at least for me, it was, even that process is important, that dispassion process. But if you can shed a little bit of light on that regarding to what you think, that'd be great.
Okay. So, man, I feel this because I could feel the person. So, you, people that are lost with information, they don't know what to do. I'm going to tell you this one thing here. Yeah. People may have a mission in life. They may want to do something. Well, if that's musician, acting, if that's spreading the message of the other side, many people may have many missions, things that they want to do. But where does this, in essence, what's the core of it? What's the core of what people are seeking? What someone really is seeking is true love again. And they try to find this within music, acting, expressing themselves to find love. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. even when you are gone out of here and you are on the other side, why are you in a state of bliss? Because you are finally free in love. Yeah. And so every single mission, even if you do not see it, it comes down to love, the true meaning of it, the true expression of it. And so when you are in the state of depression and trying to find something, I would actually ask yourself, what is it? What is it that you would do right now? If you could tune back into, if you were not here, then you were on the other side, what would your soul be doing? And I know the limitations at play here, but what would your soul, follow the story through, what would your soul be doing? With no limitation or limitations on you. And when you could tune into that, then you start walking that path here to the best of your ability, keep the focus in that joyful state of love. And things will start to move for you in that way. Yeah. And I know that this is hard for people to hear or hard people to follow through and sometimes to even believe in. Yeah. But understand that your heart, the true essence of love, holds the same force of creation itself. You could say it holds the same force in the energy of the sun. Yeah. And when you are truly in line with that, and not the distorted ways or not the perverse ways of love, but the true meaning of it, the true energy state, the state of being of it, then your life will change. It's no different how stress changes your life. And to argue the fact that stepping into that place will not change your life is like arguing the fact that if you are stressed or in a state of depression has not already changed your life for depression and stress.
Darius, your journey, it has clearly brought you profound wisdom. I would love to know, what is the most important lesson or insight that you would like to share with our listeners right now who might be struggling with a physical illness, might be struggling with fear, or might be struggling with loss?
Okay. This is going to be different from the other things that I've said before in past ones. But understand that you return back home at some point. And I don't know the suffering or pain or the experiences that you're having, but understand that this is not your home. It's not your station. And you return back to that place at some point. And if you could tune into that and remember that, then you'll realize that a lot of things here will start to dissolve for you in the way of the things that you put a lot of weight on, the things that you put a lot of attention to that you think's important, will no longer become that much more important to you. Yeah. So just remember your place back home. And that is the greatest message that I could probably share, because once you realize your home and your station, then you start to slowly wake up to everything at that point.
It was truly an honor to have you here on the show, brother. And looking forward to doing many podcasts in the future.
I would love to, Darius, if you can start off by talking about, when you, I guess, first went outer body and you've had these experiences many, many times. Did you receive any guidance or answers about, the bigger purpose that you're pursuing right now or your life's mission? Were there any signals that you received or any guidance from anyone when you went out and had these experiences?
Yeah. So I've been guided to certain places, and I won't necessarily go into all of the details there, but all throughout these experiences, I've been guided to remember certain things, showing certain tablets, books, information from the past, as you could say the true origins of that information, that the things that I'm sharing now are from those states and where I've been guided to see that information again. And now I'm in a place when I do these experiences where I know where to go. I know these people, and these people that have shown this to me aren't beings that I did not know. You could say the first couple of times coming out, I didn't recognize them, but I realized that they are actually part of what you call transcend, or what you would call even inside of, if you were looking into the pyramids and stuff for a certain set or a certain clan or a certain kingdom. Yeah. And those memories started to return back to me of who they were the longer that I was out in accessing this information. And it's the reason why I'm even doing what I'm doing now, because I realize the importance of it. I realize the importance of doing this in integrity, doing it in love for the information as well. And making sure that it's, you could say, shared correctly to the best of my ability, trying to reach as many people as I possibly can to make sure people could hear this. Because this is not just, it's life-changing once you realize who you are. It changes your life forever. And when you, if this whole round were to realize this and see this and step into it, not just from a place of believing, but knowing it, this place would change instantly. And that's sort of the mission that you would say, a big mission, but is what I'm trying to do for my time here. And it's something that I will always remain doing for the rest of my time here. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to definitely go deeper into this because so I actually completed my graduation in consciousness studies from MIU in Iowa, and it was essentially the entire curriculum was on studying your true nature, who am I, who is God, why are you here, and it changed my life. It opened me up to this perception I didn't even know existed, to be honest. There were a lot of studies and case studies that we actually went through that showed the power of collective consciousness, as you were mentioning, that, there were a group of people who actually, became this knowledge, realized who they were practicing it, becoming it. There was no, the violence, the crime rates had decreased, depression had decreased, suicide rate had decreased, all these factors in comparison to a group that was just living in ignorance. So I completely agree with that. I would love to know that when you're on this.
Good. Yeah, no, I want to chime into what you're saying, and then you could ask or tell out what you're saying. But the reason why crime and stealing exists is because these people have been stripped from the basic necessities of life. And so when you strip humanity from basic necessities that make them live in peace, then you turn them into evil, in a sense, if they don't have the tools and the ability to step back into love and understand. So a lot of the things here within this realm are set up in a way, you could say, by certain things to strip people of their power. And by stripping this, also brings the suffering and pain of what people experience. Yeah. So when you also said that when people step back into consciousness and love and remembering, then all that stopped. Because when they step back into that, they were no longer stripped of their power, but they were given their power again, remembering who they are. And when you remember who you are, truly remember that, then you do not cause harm to another. You walk in this realm as a living man or woman with your soul fully embodied with integrity and love, and you do not do things to cause harm. People are causing harm because they're unaware of that which they're doing, because they're unaware of their true self. And this could be very easily fixed by showing the soul who they actually are. And as you just stated, with your consciousness stuff. So I just wanted to say that as well, add that in there, what you're saying. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great insight, because it's essentially because of that veil of ignorance why we do the things we do that are negative or harmful. To be honest, Darius, when I was reading about you, I was I didn't really know much about what an out of body experience is. My my brother has had a similar experience, My mom actually has had a out of body experience, and she came out a changed person, spiritually evolved, and she's the one who's kind of been guiding me through this as well. But I haven't really had this experience yet. I know of it, and I have kind of that knowledge, but I don't think I have that experience. I really want to know from you that, is it possible for someone like me who's really a seeker to be able to kind of get this experience at some point and have that experiential knowledge?
Okay. So do you really believe that it's more of a question to you. Do you believe that you cannot access your divinity again? The truth. Do you believe that to be so for you?
I personally, I believe that I do have the power to access my divinity.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So anything that you see anybody else do through the entirety of this realm, when it comes to things like this, or that people may try to label themselves as gifted or special, you hold the same capacity within you to do this. Now, the out of body, everybody has the same capacity to do this. So, and that's the reason why I asked you before, do you really believe that that you don't have the power to access your divinity? You said, yes, you do. So, and that's to break down all perceived barriers and limitations that you may have, even unconsciously. Yeah. Because there's nothing that the out-of-body state, patrol out-of-body state, that you can't do. Everybody can do this. That's the thing. And that's part of this whole waking people up to it. You don't necessarily need to even experience it to wake up to who you are, but there's a difference between me just stating these things to you, or whoever is listening, and then experiencing it for yourself firsthand. Because when you experience it for yourself, it is undeniable to you of who you are. And then you become a truly empowered being, truly fearless, which is an uncontrollable soul, just as you should be. There's nothing that you should do to diminish yourself of stating, can I do this? Because you absolutely can. And there's no reason for anybody to also diminish themselves by putting me in a place where they think that they can't do that which I'm doing, because that would be absurd. Yeah. Yeah.
Bouncing off of that, because it's something I will definitely look up after, of course, our conversation, that, are there specific, because I don't have knowledge about this, are there specific techniques or practices or methods that one can follow to be able to have an experience, to get closer to this truth of an out-of-body state?
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just ask you this one question. Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
Sorry, could you just define what that is, just so I don't get mixed up?
Okay. So it's basically when you are sleeping and you wake up and you become paralyzed. Did you ever experience that in your life?
Yes, a few times at least, I remember.
Okay. That's a ticket. That's a process. Now, there's a process that you could do, and I will try to simplify this, because this is stuff that I've put into 3-4 hour long workshops and trying to teach people in detail of the context, clarity, things that when you exit, to do and not to do, things to step beyond fear, etc. Yeah, dimensional spaces. But if you get yourself into the state of sleep paralysis, so you find yourself there naturally, understand this: your body is is shutting down to a degree in that state. Your brain wave is in a certain state they call REM sleep or something. Yeah. So when you are consciously there, if you do things properly, like remaining calm, relaxed, don't get into anxiety, fear, or panic, because it may feel like you're dying. That's what the process feels like. Yeah. And when you do it consciously, you will feel like you are dying, but you need to remain calm. And when you are calm in that state, your soul will start to leave your body. And it's not a hallucination. I've tried to disprove myself for years that this was a hallucination. And it wasn't until I started targeting things in real time, having people write things on whiteboard, and me coming on my body to see those things and call them and say, this is what it is. I've done it in group experiments as well, where people are targeting things that think that this isn't real. Well, when you start to exit the body, okay, all you do is remain calm the entire time. And it will feel like you are physically moving your physical body. And this is the biggest realizations of them all, of you remembering your divinity again, your soul, because your soul is physical. It's more real there than you experience here. Your home is more real. It's more in a place of fulfillment and joy than what you will ever experience here. Yeah. And so when you step out in that sleep paralysis, you start to step out where you remain calm. You will observe yourself, and you'll look wherever you are on the bed, and you'll see your physical body sleeping, shut down. And when the soul leaves of its own volition, of its own will, then the heart rate even dips down a little bit further. Okay. When you do it unconsciously, you're dreaming, etc., you're out. It's just all the same stuff happening. But when you do this consciously, your body will even dip down a little bit further. That's why I call it control near-death experience, or out of body state. Yeah. But just remain calm, create the distance from the body, and you yourself start commanding to access certain information that you desire to see. And if you understand that you are the ultimate authority, just like every other soul in all of creation, then you will realize that nothing could stop you from accessing that which you seek. Yeah. They just understand when you're in that state too, fear. Nothing could touch your soul unless you believe it to be so. So do not give your power away, or do not diminish yourself to a state where you think that you can be touched, because you cannot. Your soul is untouchable. And that is the most simplest way that I could, because I understand, like, people like yourself and other people really desire to do this. And if you just do that, like, you just follow that next time you find yourself in that space. Yeah. And there's nothing that could stop you from achieving this. Okay.
It's
okay.
very inspiring. And when you kind of go into that state, obviously we don't need to become anything, because our true nature is already who we are. But are we trying to access something specific here in that state? Like, what is the purpose of achieving when we go into that state? If you can clarify that.
Okay, so what is the purpose? So the purpose is to access information. So, for instance, all the questions that you're asking me all throughout this entire interview, you're doing those because you want answers. And you could say you're getting the answers through what I'm sharing. Yeah. So all of those answers that you have, the purpose of that, so you could find those answers out for yourself. My whole purpose is to never make people dependent on me or something outside of themselves. It's to give them the tools to access that exactly what they're seeking. So imagine for a moment, you leave your body, everything that you ask me here right now, then you can access for yourself. And that's the purpose. You see? And you could see that. Yeah. Okay.
Darius, I want to know from you, what is your, I don't know if you want to answer this, but what is your take on this idea of a universal God or spirit, or the Holy Spirit, or, what people call them, or what was it before your experience? What is it after, or has it changed at all?
Okay. So I will just go directly to it, not before or after. I'll just go that which you just asked is already within you. It's within every single soul. And religion, certain information has been distorted to take you away from that understanding. But every single soul, you, me, and every soul here, it is God's within you. That thing that you're searching for outside is already within you. All of it's within you. And so even when you seek for God as something outside of yourself, Where are you putting yourself as a soul to be forever dependent on something outside of yourself? The Creator's essence is inside you. And it's love. It's already there. It's right. You are it's sitting here right now. And my only thing that I'm trying to do is get people to remember that. Yeah.
I love that you shared it from your perspective. For the last few years, I've been studying the specific branch of, it's called Vedanta, or Advaita Vedanta to be specific, that's found in a lot of ancient scriptures in India and Hinduism. And essentially the core teaching of it is that to realize your true nature, that you are not the mind, you're not your intellect or your gross body, you are that divinity or that true nature, and you are a God. And when you realize that I am already that which I am seeking, then that essentially relieves your suffering. That's in a nutshell the teaching of that. But I do want to ask you that a question that pops up in a lot of spiritual seekers is that, okay, then why is there a suffering? If I am divinity, does that suffering correlate with one's karma? Does it correlate with one's ignorance? Well, what is your insight on that?
All suffering in hell exists. All suffering is experienced through a soul out of love. Even hell is out of love. A demon is out of love. So all suffering is the opposite of love, because there's no suffering in love. There's no pain in love. There's no fear in love. There's no regrets in love. But I'll tell you, all those things exist outside of love. There's fear outside of love. There's regret outside of love. There's pain outside of love. There's hell outside of love.
Do you have any kind of insight on when this ignorance of who we are truly begin? Is it something that cannot?
Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I just pinged back to what you were saying before. Okay. And about why is there suffering? I did answer those as well. But another thing that you could add too is the greatest and I'm going to be careful with this, but those that hear it and I think will understand it. But the way to truly understand who we are, surely who we are, that which we are, that which we have always been, and to fully step into that would also be to experience that which it's like not to be that. Because then when you experience what it's not to be that, then you would say you would fully understand who you are. Or let's just say unconditional love. We all love. That's the essence of us. But you would say to fully understand it and truly be it, fully and completely in a state of mastery, you would say that that individual soul would have experienced the unlovable things. To truly birth in the full understanding of what it would be like, or what it is like to be unconditional love. And I know that could go against a lot of different things, and I'm not promoting pain, suffering, or any of those things. But just understand this, that even in your pain and suffering, what are you seeking to get out of that? And when you step back into your divinity, you step back into, you could say, your soul again, and you become more greater than what you were before. You could say your soul is birthed into another form of heaven or another form of home. Because the home that you left, when you go through certain things, is you're not necessarily returning back, you're returning back to a new version of your home. But that could be, you could add that in there if you want, or you could delete that if you want, because sometimes that could, depending, and maybe you could just keep the first thing that I said. Yeah. But just because I'm very careful with that, because people may take that out of context. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, do you mean like that suffering or pain can be in a way a catalyst to one's
Yes.
evolution to realize this truth?
Yes, it is. And I'm very careful in the way that I say it, because when you are in that state of suffering and pain, when is the best time to look at the stars? It's a question for you.
When it's dark, when it's night, obviously,
Yeah.
when it's visible. Yeah.
Because it's easier to see the light. You could say the light is the truth. Let's just replace the light, the stars, with the truth. So when a soul is so much disconnected from that, it's in a place of darkness, and it's trying to look for truth in the soil beneath their feet, not realizing that if they were to just look back up, they would see it very easily. And that's what people are searching for when they're in that state. But all they need to do is shift their lens, their perception, just a degree. And then you'll see that truth is what you're seeking outside of those things are right there. And now that one source of light is love. Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. I will keep this because I have a similar insight with this regarding, you need, I don't want to say maybe a wake-up call, but if we have forgotten our true nature, there are sometimes what we call suffering or pain is necessary to bring us and show us that light. I want to ask you, Darius, are there any specific ancient texts or scriptures that you have ever studied or looked upon when you were starting off your journey, at least? I know it's been a while now, but
No, I haven't. Even when I was showing the first time the Laws of Mente, just to show you, I want to go back as well. I actually can't necessarily even read, just to give people more context. Yeah, I can't. I'm what you would call when I read certain things, words start to change and go backwards on me. It's very hard for me, so I need to actually listen to things. Yeah. And so when I tell people I don't read, sometimes they don't believe me, but I actually can. Well, that's the reason why. So I never looked into things like that. I've always asked people, what does this mean? Or some people are asking me certain things, or they're showing me something. I have to ask somebody else, what is that? What does that say? So they can, tell it to me. Now, I say that because the information about which I'm gathering is coming from this state, and you would say just remembering the information, as well. First time I was in the halls of the Mente, I had no idea what that was. I had no idea. The first time that I was taken there, I thought that the halls of the Mente, and I've said this before, I thought that it was actually hell or something, the way that it was pronounced to me. And then I come back out of the experience, and I was showing exactly, and I accessed one of the entrances into that area. I was like, okay, what is halls of the Mente? And all the information was pulling up. I was like, wow, it's exactly where I was. And so this is why, even when you hear me say a lot of these scriptures, Christianity, like in terms of the text there in the Bible, or certain texts within India, the ancient civilizations, the Greek, Romans, indigenous people here in Australia, a lot of these are all very, very true and accurate, minus a lot of the deception that has taken place to put souls into fear. So when you look at a lot of these things, and even the things that you studied, if you start to then shift the soul, okay, here are these bits of truth. But then if you do not do this, then you will suffer and be forever trapped into hell, or other different versions of how they explain it. Yeah. Then you've already forgotten at the most basic sense that you can never control and trap a soul unless you believe it to be so. And you cannot have ultimate expression of freedom with the limitation. And all these things are limitations that is in place on you, the soul. And you are not limited unless you believe these things. Yeah. So, yeah, I know that's a big, probably going off a little bit off topic. Okay.
no, that gives a good context to what I was wanting to get at. In any of your experiences and that you've had, have you ever had any vision or maybe insight, if you want to call it, about the future of humanity's consciousness, where we are going in terms of our collective consciousness?
Okay. Yeah. We're moving into a time where all suffering ends. And that's where we're going, and that's where we're headed. There's a lot of different things that will be building up to that, because once you start moving in that direction, all is revealed. You can't say that you become awake and aware to things without realizing all of the negative things that have been done to put people in this place to begin with. Yeah. So the future, the future that will occur is you're going to see that all suffering of man and the living woman stops. There's many different paths and stuff to get there, but that's where we're headed. That's where we're going. That's what I've been showing on the other side through my out-of-body stakes. I've been showing the potential future events of this occurring, and it is a true celebration. And, in other interviews, I've been hesitant to share these things. I've shared it maybe once or twice, but I'm telling you, that's where things are headed. Yeah. And you could see it. Right now, you are seeing the destruction of all things that control people. Yeah. You're seeing it through the old systems. Right now, even yourself and people that are listening to this from the younger generation now of age no longer want to tolerate this place, this systems of control, because you could see past it. So what happens when the majority of souls see past this and they were all collectively there? The only reason why this continues, the way it is continuing right now, the only reason is because you have souls that choose to stand down out of love, even though they know the truth of things. And standing down and not doing anything when you see things happening, you become and you support the very evil of that which you say you do not want here. And so things are going to change. And it's not to put you in a place where you just sit back and do nothing, but it only changes with you. This place only changes when souls realize who they are again, the creation of this in love. That's when this changes. That's the only way that this place will truly change. Back into heaven on earth, or whatever you would like to call it. Because you cannot, this place will not change in that way. The people try to change it with the same level of consciousness, same level of control systems that have enslaved them in the first place. I know cryptocurrency is a new thing, but as long as money exists, there's always going to be people that have and have not. And any form of that is putting a soul into enslavement. We are the only people here that ought to pay to live in that which we were born. And it wasn't meant to be that way at all. So even when you move into other forms of this and that, you're still using the same consciousness that has put you and put souls in this place of where they are now, in the amount of suffering. And the only way breaking past that to the end of all suffering is when each soul realizes unconditional love in their home and where they return back to. Because once they realize that and truly realize that en masse, you cannot tell me that they will not start acting in a place of love and not doing the things to try to control and suppress other people here, done out of fear, done out of stress. Because as I said before, in love, there is no pain, there is no suffering, there is no control, there is no stress. You see? So that will be the greatest shift within this realm. Yeah, it was the one that occurs, and that is what I was shown occurs. And I can't give you all the details of maybe that which you, because I don't know. I just know that is what occurs, and I just know that what you're doing, what I'm doing, and what people are doing is all just lining up to that occurring. So I know I'm the one being interviewed here, but congratulations to you as well for just participating in it. And that's not coming from a place of new agey, or it's just not, seriously, like, thank you for doing what you do. even if you're conscious of it or unconscious of it. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think kind of this is probably what happened with you, but since I became aware of who I am and my true nature, it's just like what I was suffering from, a lot of those things, whether it was because of that ignorance, they went away, and I realized that it is possible for everyone else to feel the same way. That's what we're here to do. Everything else are just activities. You earn money, you do your job, and that's all good, but that's obviously not why we are here and we've been put here.
No, activities are going to start changing. So when you're on the other side, you could say you still do work, but that work is not the way the leap-in program work is. You think of work, you think of, oh, I gotta go to work, I'm enslaved, because in essence, you are if you feel that way. But the works that the souls will do, or the things that they do, the work that they're going to do, will be in a place of their ultimate fulfillment and joy. And that's what when souls do that and they move into that place, that is what brings about new things that have never been birthed before. Let's just say technology, free energy, the understanding of who we are. Because you never access those true places of divinity and truth unless you were in a place of love. Those places never even open up to you unless you're in that place. So the moment you step into that place is when these things will start to manifest in this realm of heaven again. So yeah, that's okay.
You've mentioned the other side many times throughout this conversation, Darius. I need to ask you, when you're talking about the other side, are you referring to what we refer to as heaven? And if that is the case, what is there? Does it look like what we see on planet Earth? I know you're talking about how the work is different, but what is it that makes it so special and, I don't know, illuminating in that sense?
Okay, well, it goes back into that you're just free again, too. So when you are on the other side, your soul is able to create things of that which it desires to do. You could say that's your soul is at work doing those things, yeah, to create something that you desire to experience and be. And then who does that benefit on the other side? Well, it benefits you because you're in love, but it also benefits each and every soul as well, because if they desire to ask you something or based off the experience in your creation, then everybody could learn something. Yeah. The same thing that I could learn something from you, you could learn something from me. But when we're talking about specifically this construct, this is just one out of many. And you could say this particular one, we are the Sarah. Yeah. So, and I'll just leave it there and consider that. Yeah.
Do you have any specific opinion or, I guess, insight about the concept of reincarnation, to come back after back and have multiple lives, in the sense that, and I don't know if this is what you believe, but that the consciousness is one that doesn't change, but we are taking different bodies as if we're changing clothes life after life. And that's what I mean by reincarnation. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so what you just said is, if you choose to come back here or experience this, then you would be doing just that. You'd just be changing clothes. But it's interesting too, because your soul on the other side carries a certain imprint of, let's just say, physical body. And so you could say that we're created in the image of our soul, what's the soul? It's God. So then this is where you go, and we are created in the image of God as well, because every single soul is that. Yeah, it's all living within you. And so the soul has this perfect template, perfection. And based off what I've observed, it seems to be that even though there's distortions here, there's distortions within the physical body, in terms of, things can be distorted. And when you're born and stuff, things don't look the way in the perfected state. But the body is actually you could say a mirror, a distorted mirror of the perfected version of what you look like on the other side. Yeah, and this is where you get certain beings when they come back here, even yourself, if you remember being here before in the past. Yeah, you'll find, whether if you're a man or a woman, that even in the man, you still carry similar attributes that you do now. You see, like the imprint that seems to remain very consistent, does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that does. It reminds me of, I love that. It reminds me of how in kind of the scriptures that I read of in Hinduism, that it talks about that the imprints that you're talking about, what we call like what you would call the imprints or the conditioning in the subtle body, in a sense, that comes back, with you life after life.
Yeah, that's sorry. That's really, really cool, because I didn't even know that that's what they were saying in that. So that's perfect in a lot of ways. But it's even what you were saying before. Incarnation. Yeah, incarnation is only an event that happens here within this realm we are within. So when you're on the other side, think about it this way. When you're on the other side, you are back home again. So when you want to create something, you don't need to be birthed into that experience. You walk into that experience with your soul fully in the know of everything. Yeah, you don't forget on the other side when you want to experience certain things. This is the place that you do. And so you temporarily forget. And therefore, because you temporarily forget, we're in you could say the chaos that we are now as well. Yeah. Experiencing the unforeseen events. But yeah, it's only something that happens here. And so as I'll say as well, you could view it as this. Imagine that you are walking in a city. The city, let's just call the other side, the sidewalk, the road, that's the other side. That's the base level of everything. And all of the different buildings are different constructs, creations for the soul. And you could step into one, have your full memory of who you are from on the sidewalk to walking into that building. Remember, okay, I just walked in here. This looks different. This is a different rule set, a different creation based off an individual soul or collective of souls. And then you choose to walk back out, walk down the street, go into another one, step back out, or create your own based off of your love. This is the only one where you step in here in forgetfulness. And you actually step in here, the things that I've witnessed in the city is when you step in here, there's actually I shared it's an image. I don't necessarily have it with me now to share it to you, but it's you stand in this water. Yeah. So you're standing in this water. And what happens is when you stand in this water, some people even come in here, what is called pairings. People come in here with pairings as well. You could call them soul pairings. People call them original pairs. And when you come in here as pairings as well, you end up looking at each other as you're standing in this water. And then your memories start to bleed from you into the water. And this is where you could say, water contains all memory, all things. This is where you can actually look. You could write things in water or say scriptures or texts or anything, and it will actually create an image for you, because that is coming from the memories of us bleeding into the waters of this entire creation here. And so our memories bleed through the water, and then we step in here, and then we are born. Ironically, we're born through water as well. And this is where the memory is what I observed at sea. That's how it occurs here.
Yeah, let me ask you, Darius. So, like you said, that we, if we choose to come back to Earth, then we would continue with that cycle of reincarnation and everything. But what if we decide that we want to, become fully enlightened, realize the self, and not come back? How does that work then?
Okay. So this goes into, again, you are never forced here. Yeah, unless you believe it to be so, you are never forced to come back to a forced reincarnation unless you believe it to be so. And therefore you create that by giving your power away for it to be so. So when you, the soul, makes the choice that I am done, when you leave here, you don't need to come back here. Yeah. No one does. So yeah, nothing's forced upon you in that way. Look.
So the reason do we choose to come back here is because we want to have these experiences that we are experiencing here with our relatives, with our friends, family, relationships, whether that's good or bad, whatever that is.
So some do, yeah. So some choose to come back here to have an experience of that way, but the majority of people that are here now are here for the completion of this as celebration about what I was talking about, for the mission, awaken people up, everybody again. Yeah.
In terms of, I think I heard you earlier saying that your practice or your meditation is the experience that you have. You know, I don't know how long it's been since you started having this experience or when you were walking this path. I'm not sure how many years it's been, but have you seen yourself personally, I'm talking from a specifically a relative level, I guess your perception before, which might have been causing you pain, and now that change has caused you to know that you are free and essentially that pain is less or that suffering is less. Do you feel that at all?
Yeah. So, I've had a lot of pain in my life, and that was from stepping out of what I understand to be true now, or the understanding of this, what I'm telling you. So I no longer fear things. Yeah. I don't fear death. I just don't fear things because I know where I'm returning back to. I know my home. Yeah. And I know where we all return back to. So in essence, I mean, that tears on everything else. Like, I even know things that if things are projected at me, I still know to keep on walking that path, you know? So, you know, pain is not a distant thing for me. I know it. I've experienced it, and I've experienced suffering. But I'm telling you, I have. But it's only from the place of stepping back into who I am, who we all are, remembering that is where it no longer matters anymore. Like it can no longer stick to you. So, you know, water becomes dead when it's no longer moving. Yeah. And the moment that you constantly move the waters within you, then nothing could die within you. As I said before, there is no pain in love. There is no suffering, fear, regret in love. So everything that I've experienced in pain was done from places of me not fully stepping into that. And it may sound like I'm just speaking these things without experience of the opposite of that, but I'm telling you that I have experienced that. And I won't go into details, but yeah. Then
the relationships that, you know, that we have today, is the billion population on this planet. A lot of those relationships seem to have what I'd like to call, you know, a karmic side to it, where, you know, there is a pull, there is negativity. Did we choose that for our own spiritual evolution to realize and see the light?
So did we choose to come in here, repeat that, sorry. Yeah. Just the shorter version of it.
Yeah, like, did we come here to experience those relationships that are even bad, where we know that there is a karmic pull, it's causing negativity, but we are experiencing that. So did we choose that to experience it over here?
No. So this is where I go into the unforeseen events, and this is where I try to give as much clarity, even though that which I'm saying, yeah. But it's not everybody has made the choice to experience the extremes quite like what is happening now. Yeah. So a lot of the pain and stuff, as I've stated to you, many people may think that I am supporting it, and I'm not at all. There are things that have been done that are, you could say, the unforgettable for souls. So the things that I've done is the unforgettable once you leave here. And it's not necessarily that you judged them, they judged themselves. Yeah. So many souls have just lost the way. They've temporarily lost their way. They've temporarily stepped out loud. They've temporarily is now expressing themselves in control towards others and causing harm towards others. And that can be changed, and I'll leave it there. I don't necessarily want to go too much into that, but just that can be changed. Yeah. Not necessarily that you're forced to experience that, because that's not necessarily true either.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful that you're able to share these insights with, experience from your own self. I guess the last question I have here is, when you were talking about the other side, is that you have been to multiple times. Are there different realms and dimensions, or is there only one other side that we would call it as? Or are there multiple of these dimensions and realms?
Okay. So I'll try to clean up some terminology, just to get very simple, just because this is the last question here. So within what you call universe, yeah, because you use the word planet, so we'll just use the word universe. That the universe is what I'm calling a construct, is what is. So we live within the construct. Also scientifically, you would call it the universe. This is just one out of many constructs, many creations exist on the other side as well. This particular one that we are within, this particular universe that we are within, has a total of 12 realms, or what you would call 12 heavens, and the 13th being a container force of those heavens. When you look at the DNA, and you would have studied this as well, we have 13 helix DNA, 13 dimensional structures within our brain as well. So this particular universe has 12 total heavens that can be accessed outside of the body, and you could see it through what has been told to me as 12 stargates. I need access to those. I've covered this on a lot of different ones, but trying to keep it very simple, concise. Once you leave this construct universe, that's where you are back home again. That's your state outside of this entirely. And when you're outside of this entirely, you could see the many different creations based off other souls' wills of creating that. Yeah. And that's, yeah. So there's many more things outside of here.
That's amazing. And thank you so much, Darius, for being able to share this information. I will link your website in the description as well, because you offer a lot of courses and workshops yourself, which explains a lot of these topics more in detail.
Yeah. I just want to say this. I know that you're, promoting the workshops and things, and I don't necessarily like to promote those. Okay, I'm not doing this to promote those at all. That's not the purpose of why I'm here and sharing this message. If you want people to go to my site, or not even go to my site, I would just recommend people to read my mission, the mission. And that is the only thing I want from this. Not for people to sign up for a workshop, not for people to, that's not the purpose of what I'm doing. Not at all. So read the mission. If you want to direct people there, take them directly to the mission. That is the only thing.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Darius. And it was such a enlightening conversation to be here with you. And you really truly emit such positive energies. Thank you so much. It's amazing. Thank you. for whatever you're doing, and that we all have the possibility of doing that, of course.
Okay. Thanks for having me. I hope this has helped. Yeah.